What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video, and today we're back on the Crew 2, and as you can see, I have an F40 sitting in front of me, but this isn't any normal F40 because as you can see, if the sun doesn't want to get in the way, this car is fully upgraded. So it says 279, that's only because of the tyres I have on. I do have 280 tyres. I've been grinding this game hard, like really hard. As you can tell, all 280 parts, a lot of them have got the money bonus, which we can talk about in a different video if you want to hear a video about how to get more money in the game. But I've been grinding this beta pretty hard. As you can see, I've got a maxed out F40. If I go over to my car selection here, I've got a maxed out TTRS, which is the TTRS we got right at the start. And I've also got a basically maxed out Ford GT. I kind of know how the performance upgrade system in this game worked, and I kind of want to share that with you guys. But as well as that, share, you know, whatever I've learned in the beta. I have a little bit of a strategy to getting money in this game now, and again, if you want to see that video, I can make that video separately. But I kind of want to share how to get the most performance out of your cars today. So as you can see, this is a 280 car. The only reason it was 279 at the start is because I had one of the brand bonuses, which gives you more money for events as the tires, and that was 279. But as you can see, I literally changed that a minute ago, and now the car is 280 if we go over to performance. It really doesn't make that much difference. You're going to notice when you're upgrading your cars right at the start, when you get to around 190, 200, there's a huge leap in performance, and when you actually get to 280, it's a bit ridiculous. Now, just to prove that I'm not speaking a bunch of shit and I'm actually quite fast on this game, I'm going to go to the two events which I've been sweating out, being the Motor Trend Classic. So if we go over here and then go over to leaderboards, I'm first on my friends list. So I don't mean to, you know, brag or anything, but, you know, I'm fast. And then if we go over to the other one, which is on the strip, we go over here onto the leaderboard for this one. Keep in mind I'm playing on PC. I'm also at the top of the leaderboard for that. I'm still trying to beat my friends' scores on different platforms. I think one of my friends did a 146 on this race, and I think I'm going to stream that earlier. I kind of want to go for the world record, to be honest. But yeah, like, I'm pretty fast now. I'm getting pretty fast at this race and just racing generally in this game. And I kind of want to give a few tips about the performance upgrades themselves and the tuning and then the actual racing. So first off, we're going to go ahead and talk about the performance parts. So as you can see, this is my F40. I have customized it and stuff. It looks pretty goddamn nice. I put the intelligent stripes on it. A bit sleek, a bit clean. Anyway, if you go over to performance, you can see all my parts are 280. That's not necessarily the best. As you can see, each part has its own kind of brand bonus associated with it. At the moment, I'm rocking this one, say, for the ECU, which gives you more live rewards and increases the amount of money you make in game. Now, obviously, this depends on what type of part you're going to get. On this ECU, you get an increased slipstream distance and increased slipstream power. So obviously, that's going to make a lot more difference. The more you play, the more parts you're going to unlock. And some parts will affect your speed, some will affect your loot increases, some will affect your money. And again, we're going to talk about the money stuff in a different video because I kind of know how that works now. But you know, with this one, for example, you can increase your radar for the live rewards by 5.1%, and your nitro power goes up by 19.6 per second %. So, you know, there's a bunch of ways you can do that. I'm currently just rocking the money ones because I'm kind of trying to farm money to get a bike, because the bikes are really OP in this game. I really want the Kawasaki Ninja, and I'm probably going to make a video on that at some point before the beta ends. But that's one thing a lot of people didn't know about the actual performance parts, is they do have brand bonuses. I know a lot of people are confused about how to see those brand bonuses. If you press A and then press select, it is on Xbox, or it's options on Xbox, select on PS4, and then it might be like F10 or something on PC. It should say at the bottom. It will tell you what the actual brand bonuses mean. Like, again, you can see this one means nitro and skills. So that's just something a lot of people didn't know. So I thought I'd just clarify that before we go ahead and talk about some other stuff. Another thing I'm seeing a lot of people getting confused about is actually the performance tuning. A lot of people don't know where that is. So essentially, if you go to start and then go to cars, you can go to performance, and then at the bottom you can see it says pro settings. I think you have to do this while you're free roaming. Anyway, if you press pro settings, you can see you get these options. These are the options I'm currently running. I might be inclined to turn the traction control up by 1. Just because I've been messing around with it, and I think that's the perfect balance. I was running with it off, but it kind of makes sense to have traction control off, otherwise you're just going to buckle everywhere, similar to the last game. But anyway, these are the traction control settings and the ABS settings I'm using. Again, it's kind of finding a nice medium for you. If you know, want to go and use mine, I guess you can. And those are the options I'm obviously running. But it's going to be different for everyone. For me, this is the perfect balance I found. A bit of slide help basically kind of stops the car like fishtailing a lot. turn off the ESP, it does nothing for you. ABS all the way on because that's just helpful, and then traction control, you want it on, but not too much to the point where it's slowing you down. And then one cool thing you're going to see about the parts in this game is that they're actually transferable between cars. That means you don't have to actually unlock 280 parts over and over and over again. So right at the start of the game, if you have 280 parts on one car and another car's stock, if you take the 280 parts off your 280 car and put it onto the stock car, you can actually use them again, but obviously the car you've taken them off will be stock again. So essentially you can't use parts on more than one car, but they are transferable. That's the best way of explaining it. Sorry if I made that sound a bit confusing, which is really cool. That was really helpful for me when I was using my TTRS, which also is pretty highly upgraded. At this point in the game now, pretty much all my parts are 280 now. Like, I can easily go here and make this 280 just like that. And you know, after you play a few hours of the game, you're gonna have like a fair amount of 280 parts. I think if I go over to my progression here, you can see I've spent 5 hours or 6 hours in the street racing. Keep in mind, it's been out for a day, which is a bit stupid, and then obviously bits and bobs here and there, but the most of my time has been spent in street racing, and as you can see, I put 6 hours into the game pretty much at this point. So I have played a lot of this game, but it's nice to know that you don't have to fully grind for parts now. Once you have good parts, they're yours to keep, and they are transferable. Now we're going to go over to one of the races that I've been absolutely sweating, and that, I don't know which one to do actually. I've been sweating 2 races, the strip race on the left, and then the one in New York on the right. I guess we'll go to the one in New York, and I'll use my F40 for this race, and then we can maybe switch it to the TTRS in a different race. But I'm just going to quickly go over some things I've learned about the actual racing in this game, just to get you a bit faster. Some of this stuff might seem obvious if you are a bit of a hardcore player. And what we're going to do quickly as well, before we actually even get into this race, is we're going to change the difficulty to hard. Fuck's sake. There we go. Let's fucking go. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is go over some of the kind of more obvious things while we're going through this race now. Obviously, this is racing. It's like in any other racing game. You're going to have to follow lines. If you don't follow lines, that's going to leave you a bit fucked, really. And that's just practice makes perfect. That's just down to you taking the time to learn the lines. Obviously, going in with a car that's max level does help, but even if you are really early, making sure you learn the lines, you know, through just upgrading your car from like 120 to 280 is a good way of learning the tracks, and that's actually how I learnt this track. I took my TTRS from stock to 280 on this track. It did take quite a while, but I did learn the lines very, very well. So practice genuinely does make perfect with this game. Honing the assist is so important. I can tell already, I think this traction control right now is kind of hindering how fast I can go. I can feel it like hindering my times, and that's something which, again, it's practice makes perfect. It's something you're going to have to own your skills, and that's something which just comes with time and effort. I can almost guarantee I'm not going to get a very good time just because I'm commentating in this race, but you know, like, that comes with time, I guess. Using your NOS correctly, that's something which I haven't really been doing in this race. Obviously, it depends on what perks you have on the car. Some perks let your NOS recharge really, really quickly, but you're making sure you don't use your NOS, you know, in corners. Pretty much use them in straight lines where you have straightaways, because that's really where you're going to get the most of them, and then obviously making sure that you don't use them before a braking line, because that just doesn't make any sense. Other than that, is just obvious. It's obvious racing stuff that you guys probably already know. Following racing lines, you know, using your NOS at the right time, slipstreaming if you're playing with others, stuff like that. The bikes are really, really good in this game. I've heard the Huracan's quite good as well, but I'm still yet to try either of those. I do want to try the Kawasaki Ninja, because that is a car or a bike that I've been interested in ever since I got my hands on this game. So that is something which obviously I'll talk about in the future. As you can see there, I did unlock some parts. So if we go over to performance parts, chances are it should be something around 280. I have got a few drops where they're quite lower. So if I go over here, this one's 280 as well, luckily. But I've had a few drops which actually are like 265, and that's just really, really unlucky. It's not like Need for Speed where like with the part drops, you're always pretty much going to get a 280 part unless you get really, really unlucky. And it doesn't really matter because parts are transferable, which is really, really cool. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually get my head down and see if I can get a good time in the TTRS around that track. Now, you did hear me just say that I felt the traction control was a bit too, like, like too much in that race. So what we're going to go ahead and do, first we're going to apply that part, and we're actually going to turn it down by 1. I think that might be perfect, and we're going to be using my TTRS, which I've been upgrading ever since the start of this beta, to see if we can properly get a good time. So the time to beat is 1:42, and I got that in my F40, and we're going to see if we can try do something very similar in a TTRS. I haven't noticed anything particularly unfair between all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars in this game, but it's a lot easier to throw around all-wheel drive cars, as with rear-wheel drive cars. You do need to take traditional lines a hell of a lot more. That is something that I did notice. So anyway, I'm going to get my head down and see if I can actually get a 142. Chances are I don't think I will, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. The extra traction that comes with this TTRS, oh my god. The extra traction that comes with this TTRS, you can definitely tell you have to be a lot more delicate with the rear wheel drive cars, which is no different to real life at all. As you can see there, I was a bit silent, but I was using my mouse on the straightaway for a reason. If you do this race right at the start, you're going to notice that AI really do catch up with you a lot, but I've kind of learned it at this point. I'm not sure whether my traction control is not on enough, because this car is sliding absolutely everywhere. This is not going to be a 142. Yeah, I might have to mess around with the traction control a bit more. Maybe the slide help. Look at how he just gave his back end out. It's all-wheel drive. What on earth? I always seem to fuck up this corner as well. Get round, get round, get round. Just about. It wasn't clean though. That's one thing with this TTRS. The reason why I don't use this TTRS compared to my F40 is because it's so hard to take clean lines. It's a lot more arcadey, and granted it's a lot more fun, but it just wants to get its back end out, which is so weird because it's quattro, it's all-wheel drive. So as I predicted, that was not a 142, but not even that far off, and that wasn't even that good of a time for me, a 145. That's still pretty high up on the leaderboards if you were to go check the leaderboards. But what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to do myself justice in this video. We're not going to end this video on that. We're going to end my video on trying it with the F40. I want to see what I can get around this track in the F40, because that is currently what my assists are set up for. So let's go ahead, give that another go and see if I can actually do any better. I'm assuming there is going to be an immediate difference. An immediate difference in this. Honestly, it's moments like this where I really wish PvP was in the game, because then I could easily prove stuff whilst actually playing against other players. And as you can see, immediately going into the F40 doesn't slide around as much. It's probably because I'm more used to it as well. I've done a lot more races in this F40 compared to the TTRS, you know, with it fully upgraded and stuff. And as you can see, my lines are a lot clearer. It's just a lot easier. I don't know how else to explain it other than it is just a lot easier for me to control. And obviously it's a more expensive car, so that's probably going to have something to do with it. Mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, and it handles like it. It's very weird. I don't think I'd ever say that with the Crew, but it genuinely does handle like a car of this caliber you would expect. Oh, I fucked it. I fucked it, boys. No, I'm not having that. I'm not having that. We're restarting that race. Can I just say the loading times on this game are a bit ridiculous? Like, I wasn't expecting it to be so fast. They're actually rapid. Jesus, I am really concentrating right now. Holy shit. And I can immediately tell this is going to be a fast time. We're doing 200 on this straight away. Holy fucking shit. And for those that haven't messed around with their assists, throttle control really does actually matter in this game. Really, really does. Not even just with only with the drift cars, even the street cars, it really does matter. If you're just like literally only 0 or 100 on the throttle and the brakes, you're doing it wrong. You're really doing it wrong. Right, on the straightaway, we use all the NOS. We're going to see if we can break 200 again. Come on, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. There we go, 200. Hard on the brakes. Following that clean line in. And we're going to come in, cut across. That is a good time. Is that going to beat a 142? Oh, we did it. We've got a 140. Holy shit. I knew that was a good time. I knew that was a good time. And that there goes to prove exactly what the fuck I'm speaking about. Let's go to the leaderboards. Look at that. We just beat the personal best in a video. I didn't think that was actually even going to happen, to be honest. I'm 250th in the world. That's probably quite a fair few people as well. I'm happy with that for now, but we're coming for that world record. I might have to stream that later. Anyway, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope there's something that you got from this video that helps you in the future. I have been playing a lot of this game, and I really do enjoy beating my times. I just wish there was a PvP mode. I could put my skills to the test against other players. That's the only thing which has been missing from this beta for me. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe, and peace.